Good morning, everyone, and welcome to GPA Trading Services live trading class on this Tuesday, February the 17th, 2026. As you know, today is Tuesday, Gary's Market Forecast, or GMF. It's the heads up on what's going down in the markets. But first, we have very specific rules of engagement. Those include the following. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Always trade with protective stops. Make certain the 4-hour, the 1-hour, the 30, and the 15-minute time frames align prior to trading with the MPA PE5 version 5.0 software. Also adhere to very strict money management rules, which includes never risking more than 2% of your entire account balance on any one given trade. For options friends, never risk more than 5% of your entire account balance on any one given options trade. And finally, all information provided by GPA Trading Services is for your educational purposes. So please give us a moment as we open up the charts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, picking up with a dollar index on the monthly chart. High level overview. We know the plan here. Wave 1 was done up here at 114.72. We're looking for a retracement of a wave 2, and I don't think it's over here. Last 6 plus months, we talked about this low here rallying. We thought we'd make a new low. We did so. This one here, overlapping, chopping, grinding. We said we'd likely make a new low. And now on this newest low, I don't think this is done. There is a chance we're going to rally a little bit more, but then we're going to fade and come back down. So the bias is still to break lower, break below this low, make another new low. Will we get down to 80? Probably not, but we're definitely looking for a lower low. Then we get a new lower low. We'll revisit the same thing again. So eventually, just remember, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that this wave 2, Emil, is going to end and somewhere, Alan, somewhere it's going to end. I just don't think it's here. I think it will be lower, but maybe we don't get this low. But somewhere in this area, we're going to end, and then we're going to go breaking out. That is the plan. So why am I so adamant about the last several months? This wasn't the low. We made a new low. That wasn't the low. We made a new low, and I'm still on that same kick that I don't think this is the low that we go breaking out. I think we're still going to go lower is because of price action. And this recent price action said the same thing. All this overlapping chopping, we kept talking about it for weeks and weeks, and we said ultimately we should make a new low. We did that. Well, this most recent price action looks like impulsive up, A, B, and we're probably going to go a little higher in C. So the mark is already on here. This looks like the first move up is the A. This move down to 618 retracement is the B. And we're likely going to get this probably to go up here in C to then fail and even go lower. So don't get caught up in this bounce. I do think if this is going to break and go up to this next level, so if we break this swing point high, this 98 zone, expect we'll probably push about another point and push toward that upper 98, maybe 99. But I don't want you to get caught on the wrong side of the road here, because even if it does that, the highest probability it's going to run into this pink box and get rejected and yet make another new swing point low. So this grinding, overlapping, chopping, this is hardcore chopping lower and lower is still in effect. And why do we still think it's got to go lower? We kind of did this before. We did a big run. We started chopping. We grinded lower. We chop. We grind lower. Grinded up. Did the same thing. And several reasons why I don't think this is the end. This last 3-wave correction, this is not likely to be the end of that wave 2 here after a 3-wave down. right? That looks very unlikely to be the bottom reversal, and we're ready to go breaking out. Now, just as I say that, this looks like a new ABC back up, which is still corrective, right? We got a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, still corrective. Corrective against what? The former downtrend. So this is why I still think there's more downside to come. This may be the last push, perhaps, but it was quite the run. 3+ years ago, we're sitting up at 114.72. Looked like the dollar is just going to keep ripping to infinity. I said, look out. It's going to be a big retracement down. We're looking for that wave 2, and it should be a nice one. And sure enough, we're getting lower and lower. So this is still the target zone down here around 94 to 93 area. This next push. So how do we know when it's over? If we can break the swing point high, we're likely going to go where? Up here to the Magic Fibo, get rejected, then start moving back down. So far, so good. And if you zoom in on this price action, because of this 3-wave down, not likely being the end of this move, which means we're not ready to go reversing, but we're still likely going to push. If we can break that high, I think it's over, and we're going to run up about another point or so and start reaching this pink box, Magic Fibo. That line right there is the Magic Fibo, and that's exactly what it is. It's magically delicious. And once we reach it like last time, we went down. If we do it again, we're going to do the same thing. So all roads lead to a lower high, lower low. And again, if we can break this 98 up here, which is this former battle zone we tested once, if we break that and close above, then definitely expect it to go and be pulled in like a magnet toward the Magic Fibo. And then when we're up here at the Magic Fibo, we'll look to short that again. And as far as the euro, pound, dollar, those trades on those dips, while this is rallying, they will dip. Then we'll look to buy those dips again and add to position for them to make the next run. As the dollar is projected to go down lower, make a new swing point low and head lower. Fair enough? Everybody good so far? Now, when do we start to get more upside potential? Well, certainly when we break the swing point high, kind of sets the tone. We're going to go visit the Magic Fibo. But if you use your 2.2, and I know there's a lot of lines on here because we just break this thing down to oblivion. But why would we go up here? Well, this is the A and this is the B. Use the 3.2, that low, to this high, to this higher low. Look where my quality move is. What do we mean by quality? If this is the A and A equals C, and that's that right there, then you take this from the low right there, and where are we? Right at this Magic Fibo. So if this is the A, the B, and we go up in C, then we should come up around that 98, upper 98, maybe 99 area, this pink box, and then get rejected back down. That's the plan. So don't fall for this if it breaks out up here. Look to sell it when it gets there because we're expecting to make a new low. Why? Again, 3-wave to end this thing should not be the end of this. We need more downside. Enough said. Now, if you use the 2.2, which we love tools, right? Fibos. If I look at that swing point high to this swing point low, and we can start breaking above this 97.50 area, which we're kind of testing, then it kind of says we're going to go toward that 98.20, 98.40, and who's in that ballpark? Magic Fibo is sloping downward. So it's critical where we close today. It's the Tucson. If we start closing above that 97.50, 97.60 area, which is from this recent high to low, 618, 786, this little zone right there. So we close above that 97.50, 97.60 area. Then it says we got a 75% chance we're going to go up to 98.20. 70 plus, we go to 98.40. And if we do that A, B, C quality move, that puts us about 98.80. And right dab in the middle of that is the Magic Fibo. So I'm not trying to tell you, I guarantee we're going to keep rallying, but it looks like it wants to finish this move because this does look fairly impulsive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 5 wave up in a downward direction should be the A wave. And then we got a beautiful 618 retracement, which is perfect for the C wave, a B wave down. And now we get another C wave up, which should put us in this zone no higher than this pink box, likely going to visit the Magic Fibo. Then we break down. So if we do close above, say, 98.60 today, 97.60, which is not too far away, we close above that zone, above that, then we have a 75% chance we're going to 98.23, which is above this swing point. Got it? And then we rally into the Magic Fibo to get rejected. So in closing, if you're joining us late, hello, Eric. Love to see you, my friend. That this may be what appears to be a 5 wave up, which is the A wave. Beautiful 618 from this low to that high, 618 retracement. That's the B wave. And now we're going up in C to go up here toward the Magic Fibo. And when you get to the Magic Fibo, look out. We're going to go down and we're going to break yet again another new low. So just to revisit, we've been talking about this for months. Every time we get these lows, ooh, is this the breakout to go? No, new low. Then we got this beautiful 3-wave correction, kind of like what I think's playing out over here. We did it here, and then we failed and went to a new low. I think this is probably what's playing out yet again, and we're going to fail and go to a new low. But we've been talking about it over and over, and I'm still saying the same tune that I don't think this is the end and we're ready to go breaking out. I think this is going to be another lower high, lower low. So far, so good. So back to the big picture. Yes, wave 2 will end. And then we're going to go breaking new highs above 114. And the target's going to be up here in that 120, 130, 140 area. Kind of like these extensions up here. This will be the plan. Once this thing ends, we're going to go up there. But when do we end and when do we start this big climb? And it could take a while, obviously. Obviously, it could take a while, right? So how much lower did we go before we reverse? Well, just to reiterate, we talked about 3+ years ago that if this is a super tiger, we're looking for this type of move. Typically, it's deeper. And I was looking for somewhere in the Fibonacci extensions, probably pushing a little bit deeper than narrow. And that's why when we're hitting here, we weren't even at 38.2. So that's not it. Then we got this down here. That's not it. So we're broke the 38. I think we're going to push down toward this 50% retracement zone. So that's the plan. Just remember this bounce should fizzle and we're going to go lower. But again, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you at some point that wave 2 is going to end. And I don't think it's this one right now. That swing point low is not it. Like I said, there and there and there and here. Even when this baby went way up here, I was like, that's not the breakout. We're going to continue lower. It did it. So far, so good. God-given talent to read and interpret price. And so far, so good. So be patient. I do think we're still going to go lower, but once we get this next swing point low, that might be the end, and then we start to break out. So we're not talking about just a simple rally in another low. We're talking about once this wave 2 is over, which again, not here, maybe lower in this area, maybe even lower. But once it's finally over, we're talking up here in the 120 to 140 area, 120-ish, 140 area. So it's a pretty substantial move from the 90s or even upper 80s up into that. We get down here into the 80 area. That's really a huge move to get up there. But all roads lead to a higher high once this is done. I just don't think that's done. And just to revisit that, why? Because I said so. Do you need anything else? I mean, come on. No, because you don't typically end the bottom reversal on a three-wave correction. So that leads us to believe this can't be the bottom based on price action. And it looks like we're revisiting this type of move as last time. I got a nice hardy up, beautiful 618 retracement, went up to that extension, and then we got rejected, made a new low. So everyone, I think that's the same plan. Go up here, get rejected, a three-wave move, get rejected, and make another swing point low. Fair enough? All righty. And if you're short-term in this and you're looking for more upside, if we can close above this 9750/9760 area, which is what? This high to that low, I use the big cursor, the recent high to this recent low, we're rallying. If we can close above that 9750-ish, say 9750, 9760, then the probability this continues is very high. And we're going to run what? About a point up into the Magic Fibo / this pink box. So Eric, we close above 9750, 9760. You know, a couple more shades of a point there. Then the likelihood we continue this journey even higher is extremely high. And it'll look like an A, B, C. Then when it gets up here, look out. Because that means we're looking for a big rejection at that point. Get that off. Move this right there. Move that. And we're looking, if this can close above this area, then expect it's going to continue probably for a few more days. And then we're going to rally up into this 98-ish, maybe 99 zone. And we're going to get rejected and start breaking back down and make yet another new swing point low. Fair enough? So this still looks definitely corrective. Again, I don't think this is the end and we're ready to go breaking out because it shouldn't end on a three-wave down. That's not how it typically works. So now that we're getting this move up, a perfect opportunity to sell up here and look for another push lower. And for the euro pound that we've been in long, as this rallies, those are going to pull back. So this is what I'm looking to do. We close above 9750, 9760 today, candle body, not a wick. Then it's highest of highest probability. We're going 75% toward 9820, 70+%. We're going to 9840. And who's sitting up there right above that Magic Fibo and our big resistance box? So this would be a beautiful A, B, C. For us to get to equality would put us about 9880 area in the upper part of the Magic Fibo. And once we're there, look to sell because I think it's going to reverse and come to a new low and we're good to go. So highest of highest probability, we still need yet another new swing point low below this 9550 area. But we closed above 9750, 9760 today with the candle body. That says we're going to break a new high, meaning that high, and run toward the Magic Fibo. Once we're up in this upper 98, 99 area, look to get out if you're skimming this to the upside or scalping it, and then look to reverse for this thing to come down. Fair enough? All righty. I think we explained that in great detail. So if there's any other questions, please submit them and I'll answer it. And as you would expect, if the dollar is going to break higher, this is going to break lower, but we're still looking at this uptrending line, which is the Magic Fibo. We hit it, we bounced, we came back to retest, we bounced, came back to retest, we bounced, and this looks like probably that three wave, try maybe one more time, and then we keep going. So this dip, looking to buy it, and just running in the trade here, we're still up a few hundred pips. So I'm really not looking for this thing to come all the way down and pip us out. We already took profits and we still got a ways to go. But if we get pipped out, I won't be concerned about that. All I can say is if this thing pips us out after getting our pips and the daily gets oversold, and then when we get a PAI hook, we're going to buy that. So we can write that in here and go to right there, text box, buy D1 PAI hook from oversold territory. Everybody good? Buy D1 PAI hook from oversold territory. Now, this isn't a guarantee that we have to do this now, come down. But all I could say is that if this finishes another few days and this finishes and we get that pullback and we probably come back here to Magic Fibo to bounce off of the cloud / Magic Fibo. So we may not even get pipped out. You know, maybe we don't. And then what? Boom. We're looking for this thing to reverse, and I'm drawing the Picasso, and where the software will reverse and go back toward overbought, and we'll go breaking the highs and making new highs. Fair enough? So far, so good. Pound dollar is in a very similar situation. We're up 300 plus pips, took over almost 600 pips on take profit. Still looking for this to go lower first. Kind of the same, letting this daily get oversold, letting the daily get oversold, and then look to buy the PAI hook. What's unique about this software is you can put it on a second chart while one is running, and we've got the FIFO rule in the United States. So sometimes you need to open an account with a broker and split it. Give them 10 grand, 20 grand. So I want 5 and 4 different accounts. I want 10 and 2 different accounts where we can trade long in one, short in another. But this is setting up, if this thing doesn't get pipped out, and then if we do, then what are we going to do? We're just going to enter it again when the daily gets oversold. And then the PAI hooks up. We're going to buy it. And we talked about this. We make a lot of pips. We may get pipped out. Then we get right back in when what? The daily reverses. So I could use the same thing. Buy that D1 PAI hook from oversold territory. That's what we're looking for this to occur. And this is likely going to be a big bounce coming. Buy D1 PAI hook from oversold territory. Everybody feeling me? So be careful that we talked about this. This is why we took profits, knowing we were going to get another pullback. Do we get pipped out? Probably. I mean, this one, since we only got 66 pips before that, I could back that down from the original profit zone and right there. But I'm just going to, this is in a demo account anyway, and I'm looking for this to come down and then reverse, come down and reverse. And this could be a little 3-wave correction, bounce, and make new highs. So that's the plan. We talked about it over here, make a lot of pips off of that reversal. Now we're looking to get back in. If you're shorting this, be careful, because I don't think this is going to go down too much further. And I think it'll run into our cloud area here. If you're looking at Ichimoku, we'll do this little ABC, bounce off the cloud, and then go breaking new highs. So once this reverses, perfect setup for another buy and make some more pips to the upside. Amen? So any questions? Looking at this on the chart, same type of thing. This is ABC. Come down in the zone, bounce and go breaking new highs. Pound dollar, same type of thing. We were below, we came back, bounced off of it. Maybe we need to come back to revisit. A big support zone sitting right there, that green box. So maybe we pull back a little bit more to bounce and then go breaking new highs. What are the targets? Once we do in reverse, 139, 140. So we can pull back to about 134, another 100 pips or so. And then what? 500, 600, back to the upside, just like we did there. Talk about rinse and repeat. Get your 500, 600 pips. You can either trade it to the downside or wait until we get there. Then when we get down in this zone, look for another 500, 600 pips. Back up. Amen? All righty. What about the euro yen? Expecting this to break down further. Looking for this to go down. We have that set. We're running the same thing. That the software is screaming we're going lower on those yen-based pairs. Here's the euro yen. And we expect this is going to go much lower. The weekly still pushing steep slope angle separation. I'm going to warn you, we're probably going to get a bounce in here. That we have the daily is back oversold. So I would expect some sort of bounce where we just kind of chop sideways to up. And then the daily is going to go up and slingshot lower in the direction of the weekly. And that's going to push us even lower. So I expect to see this thing go much lower in the weeks and months to come as my setup started with what? Monthly overbought, weekly overbought, turning over, steep slope angle separation, and daily made the initial cycle down so far. And this is why we're expecting this daily to turn up, slingshot lower, continue to push lower, probably ultimately slingshot lower a few more times, multiple more times, while my weekly continues to push lower, push lower. Amen? So we got some big targets down here. Should take weeks, even months to play out. And this was in it late. If you started early when we originally talked about this, you'd be up several hundred pips off of that 185 up there. You'd be 400 plus pips up, not just a few pips. But we just entered this last week saying, just get in now. It's still going to go lower because this is screaming we're going lower. Pound yen, we're up 400 plus pips, now 380, but I'm expecting more of the same. So kind of the ditto. We got a monthly turning over, beautiful. We got the weekly hooking across, beautiful, steep slope angle separation. Last week when we started engaging and disengaging, what did we say, Emil? When we kind of rallied here, I said, look, sell it because based on this engage, disengage right there, when the red, blue, and green hooked up, that's called engage slingshot. Then when it disengaged, red turned back down, blue turned back down, green turned back down. We're up here in the 214-ish level. And I said we would go back to that swing point low right there and make a new low. That's what that meant. Sure enough, like clockwork. So the weekly is expected in the coming weeks to push lower. And we're expecting price to grind lower in the coming weeks. And just be careful short term that the daily is oversold. So would not be surprised to see either this chop up, down, sideways, sideways, maybe a little higher, then push lower. So I'm looking for this to go up, slingshot, go up, slingshot, go up, slingshot. So we should continue this stair step lower and start reaching some of these bigger targets. Fair enough? That's the plan. And you can do the same on the charting platform over here. We got some big downside. First target's going to be down here about 178, which is the Magic Fibo on the daily chart for the Euro Yen. Pound Yen, kind of the same. Get my Magic Fibo. It's come on, let's calculate. There it is. Magic Fibo on this one is roughly that 205 area. So at least another couple of hundred more pips. You can see the black numbers right there, 205.50 to 204.50 is what this Magic Fibo is sitting on. So we're looking for at least a few hundred more pips to come to the Magic Fibo. We start breaking the Magic Fibo. Then the doors ajar down here to start pushing toward that 618. From this low up to that high, my 196 level, which would put us, once we get to 205, that's almost another 1,000 pips to come toward that 618 retracement zone. Amen? There's some support and resistance in here. You got the prior swing point high, turn resistance into support. That puts us about, let me get my crosshair on there. That puts us about that 205 right there at the Magic Fibo. So yeah, we start breaking that. Then we got this level down here, form a resistance, turn support around that 199. And then we got the 196 thereafter. So this is likely to go lower and lower and lower. So this is a high probability target. Once we take out the Magic Fibo, we're going to come down here to that 618. Amen? And from where we are right now to where this is, that's about 1,100 pips. Not too bad. So this is why I'm very bearish or bullish, if you will, on the yen to strengthen and this Euro yen to go lower, the pound yen to go lower. That is the plan. Amen? Any questions? So when you get the technical picture, and you come over here to your charting platform and look at the software, and you see you got a monthly extremely overbought combined with a weekly extremely overbought combined with weeks ago the daily extremely overbought. That's why we're in this to go much lower. And the same thing with the Euro Yen, monthly, weekly, daily. We talked about it for weeks now. And now you're starting to see fruits of the labor. And again, this one should be up several hundred pips because we talked about this weeks ago when we're sitting up here at that 185, 186. And there you have it. So look for us to go much lower in the weeks and months to come. No buy, sell, the whole recommendations. I can't tell you what to do, but the software is telling it. The price action's telling it. And my God-given talent to read and interpret price is telling it. There you have it. All righty. What about the markets? The markets are going to go lower. We kind of talked about this the last few weeks. The plan, and now market's likely to chop lower. Remember, if you're trading to the short side, you want to be taking aggressive profits. That's what we mean by tap. That the technical picture says we need that correction before we reverse and go breaking back out. And looking at this on the charting platform, we can see why we're expecting this to go lower. And if you want to look at it on the software, which I do, I don't do anything without the software, that it's saying the same picture that we're going to go lower. And we needed this correction to go lower. And let's get over here to it. I just passed it. S&P 500 is right there. Right? Daily's pushing down. We're going to get more downside pressure, likely going to come toward the Magic Fibo. That's the plan. Why is the daily going to do that? We have a beautiful PAI hook. The only AI you need to know about is price AI. And when we get that hook, we get the trend momentum cross, we get steep slope, we get angle separation. That screams the daily is going to cycle down. Amen? And we have it. We talked about it the last couple of weeks, that the weekly was starting to hook, cross, slope, angle separation, that we were going to get a daily cycle down. And what is the daily going to do? Cycle down. It's like clockwork. So be careful. This is not necessarily just going to drop every day, just big drop, big drop, big drop. It's going to grind and grunt and stair step its way lower, but that is the plan. Then I'm going to look, just like we already have it on this chart, when this daily gets oversold, the trend momentum gets oversold, and then that PAI, remember the only AI is important right now is the price AI, and when that baby hooks, good opportunity to buy that dip and look for this thing to go higher. Amen? And the same with the NASDAQ. It's been much weaker, but we're looking for the daily get oversold. And the beauty of this software is you can go in with your, actually, let me set this up. I don't think it's on here. Instant order, buy right there. And we add this, and then we can go into the properties, expert advisor, properties, and tell this thing we want to buy. And of course, you got to set this real big because this is on a big indice. I'm going to put some big numbers in here. So we look for some targets. All right. And then all we want for not Christmas, we just had Christmas a few months ago, but all we want is for this thing to finish and then buy the PAI hook. So you come under here under your parameters, use a trade trigger long, yes. Do I want to trigger short? No. I'm going to let it finish, keep going lower. Use slingshot long? No, I want it to finish the cycle, so I'm going to say false on that. And do I want a slingshot short? No, we want to just finish this cycle. So set that. Any trigger is a good trigger, absolutely. And we say, okay. And then what do we do here? We just go click ready to trade mode. This thing will sit here in ready to trade mode, could be days or even weeks for this thing to finally finish. And when we get a trigger back up, it's going to enter the trade for us and we're good to go. And you can do the same thing on this one. Go in, do the same thing. That once we get this more downside, I don't have it for whatever reason on there, I'll add it. Got all these templates for you for convenience. And it's short because we got a short signal. I don't want that in there right now, but I'll just let it play out because I do think it's going to go lower. Then I'm going to come back in here and reset it. But either way, we can close this. But the reason it's short because it's right now got the triggers, got everything going lower. So it took the short. I'll just let that one play out. Emil says, such a beauty. Yeah, it's going to be a beauty. This has just been grinding. So everybody knows how to do that. So let's go back to the charting platform and show you why. Just the other day, we talked about the low to the high, where we're headed. 67, 67, 66 area right down here where the Magic Fibo is sitting. So the probability we continue to have the market pullback is extremely high. Extremely high. We need a new swing point low, my friends. The likelihood this thing stops and goes breaking out right now is low. But we talk about being in a position of authority. Tap, take aggressive profits. Every time the markets pull back, the buyer stepped in, pull back, step in, pull back, step in, pull back, step in. But all this chopping, overlapping action says minimum, we need a new swing point low below that. Now, what if William Bruce and others, we come down this Magic Fibo support zone and it doesn't hold? Then we're going to need a new swing point below that one, which would put us down here in the 64 to 63 area. Amen? So be careful. Why do I think it's going to bounce sooner than later? If you take this swing point low up to the current swing point high, which these are very close, but I'll use this one. It really won't change anything. Look where that 618 is. Right there at that 67 area. Right where my Magic Fibo is sitting. So this is the low up to the high, pullback, which again, hint, 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 we're going to make a new swing point low here, get sucked and pulled into the cloud. I'll show it on the software side, sucked into the cloud / Magic Fibo. And if the daily PAI hooks from there, then I'm going to look to buy and take a position of authority. And if it goes breaking out, great. Where we're headed, we're going to 7,085, 7,001, 72, 71, 72 area. We're going to go bubble hunting up here. That's the plan. The question is this pullback below that swing point low Magic Fibo bounce ready to do it? Or do we need a deeper retracement? So if we start closing below this Magic Fibo, then the likelihood we're going to go down here, that 64, 63 area is very high. But even if we did that, this is huge salivate country down in the lower 6,000s for us still to go probably 1,000 points. If we're in the low 6,000s by the time we reverse, then we got about 1,000 points to get up here in the low 7,000s. Amen? But my first instinct is to look for this to make a new swing point low there and get pushed down toward the Magic Fibo. That is on the cards. Amen? There you have it. So expect it. Doesn't mean it has to happen today. It could, but over the next couple of days, perhaps, we're going to get that deeper retracement. NASDAQ's in the same boat. You ever felt the NASDAQ has been wasting your time? Since last October, we've gone nowhere. I mean, there's big ranges in here. People go, are you out of your mind? It went from 23.9 up to 26. That's thousands of points. What are you talking about? In the big picture, it's gone nowhere. We've just been chopping. We didn't make a new high, and all roads are leading to absolutely need a new low than this low. But because this looks like I've been saying for months now, this looked impulsive down, A. All this chopping, overlapping, grinding, grunting is the B. So we need this to come back down into the area of this swing point low and likely need a new low below this one. So this is why this 23 bubble down here is a nice target for us to go declining to. Kind of straighten him out. But that's a nice area for us to go declining towards. So be careful. We close below the Magic Fibo and you take out the swing point, which is extremely high probability, right, Emil? The likelihood we're going to make a new low there is very high. So it doesn't mean we can't, off of this push lower, get a little retracement in here, but eventually get down here. All I can say is, well, we're down in the 23,000-ish range. That's a salivate country for us to go breaking out. I still think that this thing will eventually break out and start pushing to the upper 26, 27,000, maybe 28 up here. But that's the plan, that we need this probably bigger A, B, C to finish playing out. Then we're going to get the push. So it's possible we could bounce off of this at a higher low. Doesn't look like it. It looks like it needs to make a lower low. So that's my primary direction is a new lower low. Alternate, if we bounce and we take out this swing point, then the likelihood we're going to go and retest that is very high. We break that, then we're going bubble hunt. What I'm trying to tell you is all roads, we're going down, then up. Going down, then up. Hint, hint, hint. We're going down, then up. So that's why the software is getting very interesting. As my daily gets oversold, PAI hook, what am I going to do? Well, what if it's the daily that turns and we start rallying and it ends up being it's this move here, we get a new swing point low, the daily turns and hooks, we start rallying, and then it slingshots lower and we go even lower. That's why when I buy this on the software, I'm going to get to my position of authority. And then if it turns and pips us out, I'm going to rebuy it big time. The lower this thing goes, the more I like it because it's going to go up here in this bubble and it's just going to take, longer it takes to go lower, longer it'll take to go higher. But the numbers get really big. We come down into 23,000 and we start pushing to 27,000. That's 4,000 points. I like it. So in the short term, this is screaming we really need a new low over here. Not just this low, this low. Why? It looks impulsive. We've been in an uptrend. This looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that should be the A, right? That should be my A. All that is the B. And we're breaking down in the C. And this is why when we get here, Harold, Eric, Ian, James, Alan, beautiful opportunity, this thing to go surging. And then we'll have a very strong resistance level. So use your 2.2 from the high down to what we believe is going to be somewhere down in here would be the low, 23-ish, probably lower 23. Maybe it extends into the upper 22s, but you get the point. And then we have that high and that low, and then we break back above the Magic Fibo, and we break whatever that high to low is, a 618 back up. Then look where these numbers are lining up. That high to this low, we break the 618, which is back above the Magic Fibo. It's going to be in that, basically this 24.8 area, or you just use that swing point right there, maybe that 25. Then it says we go into 26.8, 27.3, maybe 27.6, bubble hunt. All roads are leading to that. So in closing, be an aggressive profit taking, because I don't expect this thing just to be red candle, red candle, red candle. And oh, by Wednesday, maybe Thursday, we're going to be sitting here. Anything's possible. But I expect this to chop and grind, chop, 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 grind lower. And then as the market continues this push, we're going to look for a big bounce. Amen? One that is hanging a little bit differently is the IWM. It's still holding up at higher lows. So I would love to see it, but we may not get it. I'd love to see this thing come tumbling down here just so we can buy it for it to go much higher. Russell, if you're looking at the index, this thing's setting up to go up to the 29 to 3100 kind of sweet spots around that 3,000-ish target. And if we can get this thing to pull back down to say 2,500, that would put us 500 points. I like it. We may not get it, but if we do, if we take out the swing point low, expect we're going to get sucked and pulled down to the Magic Fibo for the next big bounce. Got it? So keep an eye on this. We take that swing point low about that 2,500 area out. Expect we're going to go down this 24 and change area. Then we're going to rally and go higher. So if you use an IWM, the way most people trade this, it should, if we get that low, we should still bounce and start shooting for that 290, 300 level. Amen? Which could be substantial. I mean, we're at 260. If we break this low, we'll probably get sucked and pulled toward the Magic Fibo, which again is sloping upwards. So maybe it takes us a week or so to get down here. Maybe we hit 250, and that's still 50 points that we'd be looking for. Big moves. That is the plan. Amen? And even the Dow, it hit 50,000. Who could have guessed? Who could have thought? Who could have anticipated the Dow would hit 50,000? How many times over the last multiple months, last year, going into next year, I kept telling you it's going there. Well, we got here, we're going to correct, pull down a little bit, and then go ripping. So we still got more upside on all of these. ES, somewhere between that 72 to 75 is probably where this thing will go. NASDAQ, somewhere that 27 to 29, maybe 28.5, somewhere in the upper bubble. But I'm thinking at least 27. And the further we dip, the further we got to go to get up there. So you can see them all. They all have their bubble hunting, but we got to go lower first. Amen? So the plan is to use the software to let it finish the cycle, then it's going to reverse. Got it? All righty. And what about NASDAQ? I'm in ready to trade mode on this one. Again, probably get this chop grind scenario, but the plan is definitely to make all-time highs. And for the last, since October, you can see it on this chart like I showed you, we haven't made a new all-time high since October. That looks like a beautiful A. All this overlapping is B. And we need to come down in C, which is still at a new swing point low. So I'm looking for a new low, finish the cycle in the coming days. Could be next week. We'll see. But when that PAI hooks, this thing is in ready to trade mode and look for it to buy and go much higher. Then once we're in the long side, I'm going to be in a position of authority, because what if the daily just does that? It comes down, it slingshots lower, and we need a little bit deeper retracement. All I can say is the deeper it goes, the more I like it, because it will go breaking new highs, in my humble opinion. Fair enough? All righty. So in closing, be careful, be in a position of authority. I do think this thing is going to ultimately make a new low, get sucked and pulled toward the Magic Fibo. When the daily reverses and we get a PAI hook back up, I'm buying, but I'm buying with the intentions of maybe this buy here isn't the one that goes breaking out just yet. We go up and we get another push, but either way, I'm going to get to a position of authority. And the plan is the lower this thing goes, the higher it's got to bounce to get up to our target. And I like it a lot. What about global liquidity? I like to look at the Nikkei as the global liquidity. And we got a big spike here. Now we're pulling back. I still think we got more upside. I'm going to look at the futures here and the Nikkei 1, the futures. Here's the bubble up here. I still think we're definitely going up here. So the more this pulls back, the more our markets are going to feel the pressure to pull back. And then when this maybe goes bursting out to that 62,000, maybe 64,000 up here, then we're likely going to get our markets to go up into their bubbles. And then we're going to look for a big retracement after that. Amen. Is that going to be the Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey style? Or is it just going to be a nice hearty retracement? Either way, just like I'm excited on these to say, hey, we get down here to the Magic Fibo, the daily reverses, I'm anxious to buy that because I know it's going to bounce. And even if it bounces and then we stair step even lower, I'm going to salivate again to buy it. But the plan is we will go breaking out to all-time highs. And the same with the Nikkei. I'm expecting it to break out to all-time highs on this one, the futures. Doesn't have that big wick like the index does. And we're still looking for this to go breaking out. So the deeper we retrace, the markets are going to pull our market down. If this baby does retrace, then when we go ripping, risk on, risk off, correction, push higher. Across the board. Correction, push higher. Correction, push higher. Correction, push higher. So the only one that's a little bit different is the Russell IWM. It has been holding up very well. We're still at higher lows. Notice ES. We broke a new low since then, and we're likely going to break it again, where Russell and IWM, we have not broken new lows since this January one here. ES, we did break that one. January, we broke a new low, and we're likely going to do it again. But Russell, same thing, has been holding that January low, and we did break a new low when ES did. And we're expecting that it may hold. I mean, it's possible. We got this uptrend of higher lows. We go breaking out above that swing point. We're going up. The plan is to reach what? Ultimately, we're going to go toward that 290-300. I would love to see if we do get it. Maybe a little A, B, C, and we get a little bit deeper retracement. That would be ideal. Because why? We get down around 250. Then we got to go about 40 to 50 points to get to that 290-300 target. Amen? So be careful on this one. We may not get the follow through downside like I expect on ES and NASDAQ. Amen? Be in your position of authority. I don't think this is the reversal to go breaking out now, but pay me now, pay me later. What if we do hold that? We go breaking back above this trend line and we set the tone, we're going to go to all-time highs. Well, that sets the tone, we're going higher. So whether we reverse from here, we're going up, we pull back down to here, we're going up, or we even pull a little bit deeper, we're going up. All roads lead to the bubble hunting before we're done. And again, all-time highs yet again. I'm just not convinced that this is ready to go breaking out yet. I think we at least need a new swing point low, which puts us right around the Magic Fibo. NASDAQ, this one's even worse because we did not make all-time highs. We haven't done so since October. This is extremely still bearish, but yet as bearish as it still looks, more than likely we probably need a new swing point low over here because since that pullback, look how this is overlapping. Go up, down, overlap, 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 overlap. Even as it went here, still at a lower high, that is bearish. Overlap, overlap, overlap. This is what I talked about, chop. That's what you call chop. Yes, it's a big range, but it's still chop. So more than likely, we need to break this low, make a new low, which it'd be hard fetch for the believe that, well, we're going to make a new low, but we're still going to end up with a higher low down here. It's possible, but not likely. So based on all of that, I still come back to the same conclusion. That looks like the A. All that is the B. And we still need the stair step to continue to finish the C. Then we salivate and look for this thing to go soaring higher. Amen? So again, be careful on this. This is just a lower time frame, maybe a little profit taking, but I don't think this is ready to go breaking out, even though all roads, if I'm wrong, we break above this, then we can start targeting by going back to 26.4. We break that, then we can start shooting for our target zone. But more than likely, we're going to break this low, make a new low, And likely we need to even break that low. So all roads to set an alert. And we get below 23,900, I get very interested. And we come down to the 23, 22 level. That is salivate country, because we get down to 23, we're likely got to go about 4,000 points. We push into the 22, 4,000 plus points. But I don't think this thing is going to go, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey. Market crash. This is it. That's the end until after we get some all-time highs. Any questions on that? All righty. And that's going to put a lot of pressure, as the down market is going to put pressure on our trades. Right? Mr. Tesla's winding up. And so far, so good. It's doing these deep retracements and deep retracements. So I still think Tesla's got some massive upside to come. And this is conservative target up here. And if it really breaks out, we go 8,900. So I definitely have my TSLL hanging in there, waiting for this thing to go ripping. Back when it was at $6 and we were coming down that correction, I talked about it. It's time to buy some of these. And then we rallied up about a triple here, quadruple, from $6 to almost 24 up there, 23 and change. Now I'm looking for this dip, and then what? Big rip. Big time rip. So if Tesla can make its run toward that 8,900, which is not extremely high probability, but it's certainly a possibility. The 650, 550 to 650 is very high probability. That's going to take this much higher. So no buy, sell to hold. Harold, if we get this market to continue to push lower and we push down in the 14, maybe $12 range, not a bad time to buy some of these and look for this thing to double, triple as Tesla runs toward that 550, 650 conservative target. If we get down here and say $12 range during that pullback, what are we likely to go? At least mid 30s. So you're talking probably at least a double to triple range. That's conservative. And if we do get Tesla to go blasting off past 600, pushing toward, 750, 8, 9, then we should be up here in the $50, $60 range, and we can get in at 15. That's a 4X right there, potential. I like it. And as you well know, we talked about this forever and ever and ever, amen. Back in October of 24, I made a bold statement. Tesla is expected to make a run toward 500. You might consider TSLL. You could have bought some below $10, went all the way to 41.50. 4Xer, love it. And I'm expecting yet again, blast off. But first thing first, ES, NASDAQ, and those like we're thinking are going to pull back. This will probably pull back some more, but I'm still looking for opportunities. If you could see TSLL anywhere, if it gets to 12, it may not get there, but if it hits the $12 or lower range, that's a perfect time to add more and look for this thing to go exploding higher. Meta, I got big aspirations for Meta and its two leverage product, the METU. We're still pulling back. This thing did a deep retracement before. This could possibly be the wave 1, 2 correction, another wave 1, make that numeral, and this is the wave 2 correction, and setting off a blast off. So I do have high aspirations for Meta, and we have a target. Believe it or not, Ripley's, believe it or not, 1,100 to 1,300, probably take about a year-ish to get up there. That's still the plan. So I started my nibble down here on METU in that $26 range. and it popped up to 38, took some profits, dipping back down. So this is a good opportunity if you hadn't tasted this METU. Big potential, no buy, sell to hold. Can't tell you what to do. You know the rules. That's the plan. I own METU, and I'm looking to buy probably on a bigger dip, maybe 100 or so more, a few hundred more, 500. We'll see, and look for this thing to go soaring. And if Meta can soar to 1100 or so, that 11 to 1300, that's roughly from where this low was, good 100% gain, basically doubling from 600 to 1200, kind of was the double. Well, that would put METU at a 400% gain. And what does that look like? Looks pretty impressive, right? No, 200% gain, not 400. Sorry. What did we say it was? 100% gain? Yeah, there we go. I thought that sounded a little absurd. And then you go to Meta, would be a 200% gain. That would put us up here in the maybe $70 range, 80. And we're getting into the 20s. So a triple-ish. Now I'm going to warn you, this is not buy. Well, I can buy METU shares today, and by next week, they're going to be 3 times the value. No, we're talking probably at least a year. But this is a high probability target, and I'm expecting this is probably going to pull back some more, because when the markets start pulling back, 90% of all stocks go with the markets. And if ES is expected to grind lower, NASDAQ's starting to grind lower, probably even the Dow probably grind lower. If we can get the Nikkei to grind lower and we get this pullback, then the lower this goes. But Gary, you bought some at 26, you took some profits. Now I'm looking to reload. That's the plan. So what if you bought some at 26 and you didn't take profits and you're watching that evaporate, and it goes from your 26 level and it goes down to 20? Smile, buy more, right? But I'll be underwater. I'll just hang on. Hang on. You do get dividends coming next month. Well, so you can see the D's on this chart, and we should get some dividends on the stocks shares you own. That'll help with your acquisition cost, et cetera, a little something extra. But Mr. Tucson, this thing is likely going blasting off in the next year or so. And that is the plan. So I'm going to own these. And if we do get a bigger dip, I'm just going to add to my position. Amen? All righty. Amazon, there's potential for this thing to go much higher as well. It's setting up beautifully for a pretty big move. Now, again, are the markets going to pull back further? This could pull back further. But this technical picture, looking for this big setup, recent low to high, and this needs to be adjusted just slightly with the new low. We're still talking 300s, 350. That's looking good. So what would AMZU look like? Same kind of thing. Do we get Amazon, for example, and you use this little tool here, it's the date and price range. If Amazon is going to bounce, and this is going to bounce up to the kind of split the difference, mid threes, around a 320, 350, split the difference, about 330-ish. It's about a 70% gain. What would AMZU look like? That would be about 140% gain. That would put us about $60 from 25, more than a double. Not bad. And you do get dividends along the way. If it takes a few months or so to get up there, the longer it takes, the more dividends we'll get during that period. So, you know, I'm big on TSLL. Instead of always doing options on leverage type products, that's, you know, a little risky, because Leverage is leverage. If you're wrong, then it's big time wrong. And if you throw options on some of these leverage products and you're wrong, ouch. So instead of doing that, I typically buy the 2x leverage type products. And when the underlying expected to go much higher, I buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. And this still is setting up for Tesla, even Apple. Apple's still looking for a bottom. So is this the beginning? And Apple's ready to go breaking out 300, 3 plus. Well, AAPU would go much higher as well. So you might consider that in the future when we talk about some of the big Magnificent Seven, and we're expecting a big run on those, then you can buy some of the leverage product at a much lower price. Instead of $260 a share, $30 a share, 400, 15, 600, 29, get the point, 200, 25, big difference. So any questions on that? I do expect we're probably, if the market still finished that pullback we're looking for, then we may see that bounce, but I'm not convinced this is ready to go breaking out yet. We may need a new swing point low. Amen? More than likely need a new swing point low because it's chopping and overlapping. But hey, if that is just a deep retracement, we break the high, then we go at all-time high. But like I said, all of these lead to this much higher high. And when that happens, it should pull these guys higher. If ES goes breaking all-time highs, NASDAQ goes breaking all-time high, Dow continues with the bubble hunt, then it's going to pull these guys up much higher. And Tesla, going to pull Mr. Tesla up higher. It's going to pull Meta up higher. It's going to pull Amazon up higher. So all these are looking for breakouts before we're done. And that's why I'm entertaining buying, and most of these were already in them, looking to get these leveraged products to go higher. But be careful on these bounce initially. We may get another push lower. And if that happens and you buy a little something and it doesn't break out just yet, we go up and push a little bit lower, then I'll just do some cost amortization and add some more. And Emil says, can we look at TLT? Remember, the software does run on Mr. Ninja Trader. Do I have TLT on here already? I thought I did. And during the pullback of the markets, this thing is likely going to go popping a little bit. It's grind down into oblivion. The weekly's trying to slingshot higher up. We have the monthly. Looking at that real quick. Monthly's kind of engaging. It's about to disengage. So this looks like TLT wants to bounce here off of these lows, kind of sandwiched down, grinding. So yeah, this looks like an opportunity for us to go back to the high and make a new high. Let me come over here to the charting platform so I can slap a few things on there. Although remember, we do have this in the platform as well, that the monthly is extremely oversold, starting to depressurize. The weekly turning over to push back up, and the daily is pushing in toward overbought, just looking at the software. So Emil, what are we looking for? We're looking for Mr. TLT, turn over, give us a little pullback, and then a continuation. So with a monthly up, a weekly up, we're looking for this daily to turn over to slingshot higher. Amen? So ideal time on these type of, well, what do you mean by a pullback? And when should we buy the dip? If we can get the daily to PAI hook and trend momentum cross, where we get steep slope, angle separation type of thing, like we had before on that move, when that happens, that would be what? Daily PAI hook, trend momentum cross. That means the 4 hour would cycle down, And we don't have, wait, I got to remember to save my chart after doing that. 5 days? How about 365 days? Give us some action here. So if the daily can hook and cross, we would look for the 4-hour to cycle back down like it did over here and then buy the dip. All right. So I'm looking for the daily to start turning. So be careful buying at this upper level. It's been a nice little move from about $4 or $5 move up. Now we're looking for a little retracement back down to then continuation. So monthly's up, weekly's up, daily's overbought, 4 hours overbought. So this is not the time to buy. It's time to look for a retracement. Then look for if the daily hooks and crosses, steep slope angle separation. We're going to let this 4-hour get oversold. And when it does, we're going to look to buy the dip when the 4-hour reverses. Got it? That's kind of the plan. And then look at the charting platform, just so I can throw that. Oh, I meant to show you over here. So what sort of retracement we're showing, because we do have it in this platform. You go right key click, you go to drawing tools, come down here in the software when it's installed, we'll have the Fibonacci retracement extension. You look for a Fibo retracement, and from the low up to the high, we got this Magic Fibo, which is that orangey or goldish line. And it's right between the 618 and the 50% retracement. I'm not trying to tell you we're definitely going to retrace that far, which is not that far. It's about $1 or $2 from, say, 90 down to about 88, somewhere in that area. So we got a Magic Fibo. We get a nice little retracement. We get the 4-hour to cycle down. And then my 4-hour turns up. If we're anywhere near the Magic Fibo / this 88, 87 range, that might be a good buying opportunity. Then what sort of chart will we look for? Well, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can go back to your drawing tools and do the same Fibonacci retracement, but run it from this high down to where we think the low is going to go. So about the Magic Fibo, for example. Then we can start targeting 90, 91 from 88, $3, $4 move. Nice. Or you can do the 3-point tool, which that's in here also. So I'll remove that. Use the 3-point tool in this, which again would be drawing tools, Fibonacci extension, and we would go from the low up to the high to the higher low, let's say somewhere in that $88 range, somewhere about there. And then we could start targeting not only the 90 from the other one, but 92, maybe as high as 93. Amen. So I like the fact that we got a monthly oversold starting to turn up. I like the fact that the weekly's oversold, slingshotting back up, but it's still turned up. And then the daily and 4-hour overbought. So this is a perfect time to look for a pullback. And then how soon do we buy the dip? If the daily hooks and crosses, which it likely should, we'll get the 4-hour oversold, 4-hour oversold. We kind of grind lower over the next few days, 2 to 5 days-ish, sometime next week maybe. And then we look for what? PAI turn up, and then look for a little pop. All righty. Let's continue. So any other questions on the markets? Again, be careful on these because we may get our markets to pull back. Nice little reversal. What did I warn you? I said it at the top of the class before we even got started. Cap. That was last week. The market's likely to chop lower, but take aggressive profits. We've seen this behavior before. We sell off and the market step in and start buying. Sell off, market start stepping in and buying. But also, even if you were short and you took your profits and now you're scalping it back to the upside, use the same methodology, take aggressive profits, because I'm not convinced, even though I'm very convinced that we're ultimately going to break to all-time highs. I'm not convinced that this new swing point low is the one that's going to get us there. So even if you're scalping up, take aggressive profits, you're playing to the downside, take aggressive profits. What a quick reversal, right? Kind of warned you. That's the plan, but this chopping, overlapping still technically looks like we probably will fizzle, continue this lower high type of thing, and just chop, grind, rally, fizzle. But I'm looking if we can get down here toward that 67/66-ish range, which another 100 points or so. We do that. That is beautiful salivate country for the pop. And as I said before, all rows, Mr. Tucson, lead all-time highs. We dip further, all-time high. We go exaggeratedly further, all-time highs. All roads lead to all-time high. Whether we do it from now, we pull back a little bit more, or we go even a little bit deeper, all roads lead to ripping higher. Amen? NASDAQ again, I would be extremely careful in this arena. We were just down a few hundred points. Now rapidly we bounced. Is this over from a higher low? It's possible that, we do have higher lows here, that this could be, but I won't take this bounce seriously till we start taking that out, prior swing point. Then we do that, then we're likely going to go testing up here. And once we obviously take that out, it's over, and we're going to start pushing toward the 27,000. Amen? Here's the bubble we're going to. So is this the end, and we just had to retest a rocket fuel for us to get up there? Or do we go lower to get up there? All roads, either we break out now, we retrace further, or we come into the 23, 22 target down here. All roads still lead to the big blow off top. Amen? So be careful. Yes, it's grinding, and this could turn into a doji and green, and still got to get above these lower swinging highs we've been in, and we're getting lower high, lower high, lower high. So this could continue where you get yet another lower high, lower low. But that's why you take aggressive profits. Amen? All righty. And if we do get it, that's a thing of beauty, because the further down we go, more likely we're going to the bubble, and that's still on the cards. So in my humble opinion, I'm very cautious about this bounce, just like I was cautious about that bounce. And because of this and all that chopping, looks like we truly need to clean this chop and overlap up. How do you do that? You make a new swing point low, then you set it up. Amen? So all I can say is if you're long, take aggressive profits. You're short, take aggressive profits. I don't think this is ready to go breaking out yet. I still think we need that last flush, and the last flush should include a new swing point low. Amen? So we're talking 800 points to get to a new swing point low from where we currently are, and maybe 1,000 or so. But the target, if we break the Magic Fibo, not just bounce off of it like we're trying to do, but we close below a daily candle body below it, then expect we're going to start pushing toward that 23-ish, maybe as low as 22. So this is the target still. I'll stretch it out a little bit more. If we don't hold the Magic Fibo, look for us to go down here. And all I can say is we get to this area. Oh, beautiful. You're talking about a 4,000 point run coming. All righty. Let's continue. What about Black Gold, Texas Tea, the Beverly Hillbillies? Still chopping and grinding. This has been a false breakout for many years now. Look at this thing. ever since 2022, when we were way up here. 2022, was that March of 22. Pullback, grind, bounce, failure. So this looks like a big A, B, C that's still playing out. You'll recall from this low way back in 23, when we saw this chopping, overlapping action, then we proceeded with the pullback, lower highs, lower highs, and we started this grind. We started this lower high trend line way back. And during this period, I said for months and months and months and months and months, dude, all this action says we need a new swing point low. We got it way over here. And this price action is likely the same price action we're getting now. Notice this area, Harold. We got a bounce. We chopped an overlap, went up, pull back, lower high, pull back, lower high, and we kept testing and failing till we finally made a new low. Now, if I zoom that in, if you look at this price action up to this swing point low over here, now watch how that looks identical. It's like a rinse and repeat type of thing. Looks very much similar from this low. We got the chop and the grind. We went up, we pulled back, got a lower high, we pulled back, got a lower high, we pulled back, got a lower high, we pulled back, and you see I got the big time trend line and a smaller trend line, lower trending highs. So we've tried to break this upper level multiple times. Check it out. Multiple times, and every time we were disappointed. Ooh, we're going to go breaking out. No. Ooh, no. No. No, this one looked really good. Hey, it's breaking above. This means we're going ripping. No. Yes, this is the one. No. This is the one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, there was a double one in here. So this is like the 7th time. It's still failing. So Dan, as much as I know, oil prices are going to go ripping. Not yet. Still think we need that flush. I made that bold statement back in 23 over here that based on all that, we needed a new swing point low. We finally got it. Then it did the same type of behavior. I mean, that looks like superimposed, doesn't it? Superimposed on that move, this move, and we're doing the same thing we started doing here. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. So it's still writing is on the wall. Emil, we need a flush. All I can say is the same type of thing. We get the $50 and lower, we have a very specific strategy. We're going to buy some leveraged UCO. That's the plan. Buy the UCO, my friend. So what are we looking for? I would love to see this get the flush down to 50 and lower. And a great target's going to be that 45-ish range. So below 50, somewhere between 50 and 40. Split the difference would be about 45. So if we can get this thing to flush down to 45, that's going to flush this UCO time leverage into the low teens. That is the plan. So be careful on this head fake. It's possible this could go breaking out. This is a high probability we're going to go breaking out, but I think we need one more flush. Like we said way back here and all that, we needed a new low. It's duplicating it again, so we more than likely need a new swing point low. That puts us in the 50-40 range, split the difference 45, but I got an alert set right there, that dotted line, telling me it's an alert to tell me when oil prices hit 50 and lower, my immediate reaction is to buy some UCO. Because once we get down to the 50 and lower, This thing is anticipated to go ripping higher and to make what looks like a 50%, maybe 618 retracement off of this high to this low, which should be end here somewhere in that 40 to 50 range, 45, and this bubble. Then we're looking for at least a 50% retracement off of that high to that low. Big move. Could double. If we get down to 50, we could get to 100, or 45, we get to 90. Looking good. So that's why I want to buy UCO at that point. In the interim, if you want a short-term play, shorter term, that if this thing breaks down, this SCO is going to go popping. As oil price break down, SCO goes up. And then when we have SCO ripping higher during oil prices decline, you then sell all of those. What profit you take out of that, you can then use to buy a bunch of these. When oil prices at 50 and lower, you start buying UCO, and then that thing goes ripping, and UCO goes ripping times 2. So as you can tell, I like leveraged products. Don't always trade options on all this. I do trade options frequently, but not always on, especially not on leverage products. Be careful trying to buy leverage products and leverage on that and do options on them, because they typically don't have. IBIT for Bitcoin has huge options. I mean, they have weekly, 3-week options, Monday, Wednesday, Friday options. So that's a different one. But this, I would not be buying, trying to even attempt to buy option. The liquidity's not there. I just buy shares. So I don't have to worry about expiration. I don't have to worry about anything. When oil prices finally dip, I can buy more and then look for this thing to go ripping. As oil prices rip, this thing will rip. Everybody good? So UCO, if you don't want leverage, a little bit more expensive product to buy, but would I have any problem with you buying shares of this? No. Once we get down into that push, we may get down into the 60s, maybe even upper 50s. Oil prices go flushing and we make a new low. This USO probably make a new low and get us into maybe the 50s down here. Maybe we buy then and then look for this thing to go ripping higher. That's the plan. Any questions? So in closing on black gold, be careful. This looks like yet another head fake. And we're likely going to go breaking down. All of this chopping, overlapping price action, screaming, we need another low. The plan is to get down to 50 and lower. When it happens, I'm going to buy UCO. And UCO, as you can see, I'll stretch that out for you and bring this toward that target. From the recent low up to the high, that pullback, still looking to get down into 16, 15 or lower, maybe lower teens down in here. All I can say is I don't care where it is. Emil, what if oil prices hit 50 and lower and we're sitting at 15? I'm buying. What if oil prices hit 50 and lower and we're sitting at 12, 10, buying a lot more? What if we get down to 50 and lower and we're only at 60? I'm buying. I don't care what the price is. When oil prices hit 50 and lower, I'm buying. Well, what if when it first happens that it hits 50 and I buy some at, say, $16? Just throw out a scenario. And then we actually decline from 50 down to 45. And this thing then goes from my 16, I'm underwater, and it goes down to 12. Then I'm just going to load up, add more, do some dollar cost averaging, and look for this thing to go ripping. When oil prices go ripping, this UCO is going to rip times 2. So we kind of played this little deal here, and we could show you right there on this one. What if we go from this 50 down in here? This is where we were, but if we come down here, let me move that out of your way for a second, and we take this little guy here, and we get down to, say, 45. And we then rally towards 100. Or we just say 90. All right, let's just do 90. We get towards 90. Still about 100% gain, right? 45, 100, 45 to 90 be about 100% gain. Amen? So what does that mean for UCO? UCO is going to go a 200% gain. And that would put us about 45. And I could buy it at maybe 15 or lower. I like it. Amen? That's the leverage of 2x. Ultra means 2x. So in closing on black gold, be careful. I think UCO is going to tumble. I think oil prices are going to push toward that 50 and lower target. That's when I want to load up on these. Amen? That's when I want to buy these. So my instant reaction, here it's 50 and lower, buy some of these. No buy, sell to hold. Again, I can't tell you what to do, but the plan is, what if I already bought some up here at 20? I thought it was breaking out. I bought some at 22. Stay the course. Let it come down to the teens and then cost amortize, right? Bought some at 20, buy some more at 15, for example. Then your net, if you bought 100 shares here, 100 down here, your net would be about 1750. Bought at 20, bought at 15, you get the point. Or you can make it even a little sweeter. What if I bought 100 up here and I buy 200 down there? Then it pushes it even lower, probably in that $16 range, or 17 or 16, upper 16. But you get the point. Either way, whether I bought it at 20, I'm gonna buy it a lot at 16 or 15 or even lower. When it's finished, it's projected to be up in the 40s. I like it. Amen. All righty. And again, the inverse play would be SCO. I bought some back here, took some profits. Now I'm looking to buy some more and look for this thing to go popping. And remember, this is a shorter term play because when oil prices go dipping, this is going to go ripping. And then this thing's going to go tanking. When oil prices bottom and reverse and go shooting up, this thing's going to go tanking. But that's why we switch from SCO to UCO once oil prices hit 50 and lower. So when would I be selling this if I'm in it again? When oil prices start pushing at 50 and lower, this should be up in the mid 20s is the kind of the plan. And this thing should then look for opportunity to sell that. Oil prices hit 50 and lower. If you got any of these and it's up in the mid 20s, you sell those, take the profits, then buy that UCO. So when oil prices reverse and start ripping from that 50, 45 is kind of the plan, up toward 90 and 100, this UCO should do that times 2. I think you get the point. Gold and silver, still warning about gold. Yes, I think we're going higher, but we need to go lower. This looks very impulsive, that initial move down. So, I like my ABCs. And what do you mean by that? You don't have to worry about it. That's my job. But that looks like an A. This chopping and overlapping looks like the B. And we need the C to come down. So I'm looking for Mr. Gold to hit 4,000, 3,700-ish range. Be extremely careful because this looks like it needs to flush and make a new low. Then once we're down in this 4,000, 3,700 range, that might be a good opportunity for this thing to go reversing. Amen? All righty then. So this does look suspect. And even from the recent high to low, we hadn't even broken the 618. We're kind of just chopping in that zone. So be careful. Likely going lower. Mr. Silver. What's Mr. Silver going to do? What did I warn you about that for a very long time? When this thing went parabolic. Well, back it up a little bit. I did something that's insane. I said, I guarantee, there are no guarantees. Silver's going to hit 60, 70. It is a done deal. Stick a fork in it, it's done. Well, this thing went ripping way past it, obviously. But during this chugga going up, I did said something as well. The more parabolic these psychology of a market cycle tends to play out, you at least get a 50% retracement. Wow. Everybody, there's no way that we're going to go from 120s down to 60. Oh, yeah? And I don't think this is the low yet, right? I think we're going into 50s, even 40s would be ideal. Come back to where this thing started. Kind of grind, and we went up and we chopped for a long time from October up to like November. Just kind of chop for, days and days, weeks. And then we went parabolic. And typically the psychology of a market cycle where the plateau and then the big parabolic move starts from, you typically come back to retrace to that area before resetting. So, remember this tool, arrow? Up from the high, down to the low, we already had a 47% decline. That's why I don't think it's over yet. Because typically when it goes parabolic, you get at least a 50% retracement. So that would put us down here on, when we get to 50%, that's just a few more ticks. That would put us down around the Magic Fibo. But I think we're going to go lower and start pushing toward where the plateau started. Got it? So look for this thing to go lower into the 40s, ideally, 50, maybe 50, 40 range would be a beautiful place for that thing to go to. So in the short term, be careful on any type of rallies. I don't think this is ready to go breaking out. I think we're going to get another push lower to finish that. Amen. But boy, was that spot on or what? Be careful. This is the train's going to end and we're going to get the last one of these pushes and then we're going to tank. And again, I don't think that's over. And even gold kind of leading the charge. I think this swing point low needs a new low. Amen. A, B, C. Magic Fibo. So we're talking 4,000 to 3,700. Silver. Somewhere between probably 40 to 60 range. I like this 50-ish range here. So I'd love to see it hit 50 or lower. Kind of ideal place. Let's continue. What about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is just struggling. What I don't like that it's doing right now is that we call a watermelon seed squeeze. That where you get these lower highs, higher lows. So we don't know what's going to happen here. Are we going to break lower or are we going to break higher? Typically, these end up in B. So is this the A and this part of the squeeze is the B and we still go up? Or do we break lower? I still think Bitcoin is likely going to make a recovery and push probably toward the 80s, if not the 90s. I would love to see, and this would get a lot of people interested. Ooh, this is Bitcoin breaking out to all-time highs. But somewhere around that 618 type of retracement would be ideal, right around 100. Maybe that 90 area. This could take weeks or even potentially a few months for this corrective action. But I will say this, I don't think this is the low. I don't think Bitcoin has stopped here and we're ready to start a new crypto cycle. That's not until 2028 over here. So let me go to a weekly so we can see more of this price action. The next halving's over here in May of 2028. We had April of 2024. Now we're looking for the next one in 2028. So the crypto cycle has been pretty consistent throughout the years. Started in 2012, 12 to 18 month rally, got to pull back into the next halving, started grinding back up to the next halving in 16, 12 to 18 month run, got to pull back in crypto winter low. Then we did what? We went on next halving, 12 to 18 month run, crypto winter low, start rallying into the next halving. This is the first time we ever broke all-time highs before the halving. That was that FOMO we talked about with the ETFs and all that were released. But we still went 12 to 18 months. And where was this? Right at 18 months. And we pulled back. So people thought, well, with all the ETFs, it's changed. It's different. They're buying this in BlackRock and pension plans, and they're thinking about putting this in, and now they're still this. Well, it's still the same big whales out there with all those Bitcoin, and the same rules are being followed until it changes. And I hadn't seen a change yet. I mean, typical. So I don't think this is the low. I think we're going to go lower, and my target is between 50 and 30,000. So, Mr. Tucson, do we get that three-wave correction, make a run back toward 100, then get the flush? Or do we do kind of like black gold? We just kind of chop and grind and just continue to wear down more. I don't think that's the low. I think we're going to make a new low. But be careful shorting this at the moment, because I do think we're due for a rally. So you can come over here to the software and look at Mr. Bitcoin, and you can see why we're expecting this rally. A, on a weekly chart, we're oversold. Monthly chart, still got some more downside. So this is kind of what I'm thinking, like we did the last time. What happened when we got our crypto winter low in 22? Monthly was oversold. Then we went ripping. Remember my comments back here, Bitcoin below 20,000 is a steal of a deal. Man, you're going to hate yourself if you don't invest in some Bitcoin at this low. Well, in 2026, probably October-ish, late 26, when this baby gets back oversold, months from now, we make a new low. We push toward that 50, 30,000 range, and my monthly's oversold. I'm going to look for what? Buy in that zone. So when Bitcoin hits 50,000 and lower, I'm going to start nibbling like we talked about doing at 20,000 and lower. And then we go into 2028, which will be over here somewhere. And we go into the halving. Then we go 12 to 18 months, rally, rinse and repeat. So your buy zone, no buy, sell to hold, kind of contradictory, but you know I can't tell you what to do. But the buy zone is the 50, 30,000 like it was this 20,000 down here. And before that, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So Mr. Tucson, when you look at this, what's interesting is we typically top out every 4 years, 4-year cycle. We topped out in 21. We topped out in 25. We topped out in 17. Interesting, isn't it? Top out 17, 21, 25. And if that trend continues, when do we buy down in here? And then when do we typically top out? In 29. Amen? Got it? Top out there, 25, 21, 17, 13 over there. Everybody with me? And then when do we bottom? 18, 22, 26. Huh. So is Bitcoin and the crypto market difficult? Oh, when you know the cycle, be one with the cycles, young grasshopper. The cycles are part of the software. You look at it in this one, looks the same. A little bit more downside on the monthly. The weekly's oversold daily. So this is why we're looking for that bounce to come. And yet, I would suspect we're probably going to do the same. Get a weekly cycle up, and we slingshot lower. Get this weekly start depressurizing, slingshot lower, monthly continues to push. We break a new low below that 60,000, which again, I don't think is the end, but we could get that rally up in here where that baby starts to depressurize, and then we slingshot back down, and then we make a new low into that 50/30,000 range. And then my monthly's oversold, weekly's oversold, daily's oversold. And we talk about late 2026 when Bitcoin's at 50,000 and lower, I'm buying. Amen. All righty. How cool is that? So in closing, we've learned every 4 years we top out, every 4 years we bottom. So we should bottom in late 26. The plan is to get down to 50,000 and lower. Emil, James, and all our students and archivers out there around the globe, all I can say is when it hits 50,000, if it's tomorrow, next week, next month, in October, whenever Bitcoin hits 50,000 and lower, I'm going to start to nibble. And you could buy some Bitcoin in broker, or you could buy some ETFs, you could buy some leverage products. But the plan is to acquire in 2026 when we get to 50,000 and lower, and then hold it till we get to another big 12 to 18 month run in 2029. We'll be looking to liquidate then, and then look for the pullback and what? 22, 26. That would put us in the year 2030 after we get the big run, 12 to 18 months, about a year pullback in the crypto winter would put us into 2030. And then we go into the next halving in 32. We nibble down here, let it rally into the halving, then 12 to 18 month run. So we 25, 29 over here. Then we get the pullback in 30. Then we do the 33, et cetera, et cetera. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Amen. And I like leverage products in this as well. That is the plan. So be careful with Bitcoin. I don't think it's done to the downside, but I would not be heavily shorting this because the software is getting oversold on the daily and the weekly. And this little squeeze could be that A, B, we get a pop up here in C, then we push lower. But to say that this is the end, and Bitcoin won't make any new lows, that's still the plan. Remember, we put this nibble zone in late 2026, put that on the chart years and years ago. Even before we topped out on this, we talked about this. So I already know where we're going to be buying in late 26. This isn't it. We're going to go lower, in my humble opinion. But in the interim, we do for a correction and then a push lower. And if not, we just kind of chop sideways and continue lower. I don't care if Bitcoin hits 50,000 and lower tomorrow, next week, next month, 3 months from now, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, October, whatever. When it hits it, that's the plan, is to buy some. What about Ethereum? It too, I mean, as much as the excitement on Ethereum, yes, we're still at higher lows and all of this, still think there's a lot more upside in the years to come, but we're probably going to go lower before we do, but the same type of thing, look for some sort of correction. If you look at this high to low, which we can adjust that just slightly, that's that. Let me get that out of the way for 1 second. I don't want to remove all my drawing. I just want, come on, I just want this guy going. And from the recent high to low, we adjust it just slightly. Maybe we get a 618 retracement. We make a run back toward that 3,700, maybe 4,000. High, low, lower high, lower low. And just like we said way back in 2022, when we were at this low down in here, I talked about this is a great opportunity to buy. It would make a huge move. It did. We didn't quite get to the targets we were looking for. Bitcoin didn't quite get to the targets we were looking for, but buying at $800 range and selling at basically 5,000, that's a pretty damn good return, right? So three-wave correction, probably get another low. I don't think this is the low. I think ultimately we're going to get below 1,000. So when Ethereum starts getting below 1,000, I'm getting very interested. Like when Bitcoin gets below 50,000, I get very interested to start to buy. Amen. So I think we still got at least 50% decline coming, more than likely. And then it'd probably be even more than that if we get the rally we're looking for. But the same thing is here, like with Bitcoin. You want to be careful because we're looking for these weeklies and dailies to start bouncing. And let's see if I have Ethereum on here somewhere. If I don't, I'll pull it up, Bitcoin. I don't guess I do, but I'll come to Bitcoin and then put ETH USD crypto. And it's kind of the same. We got the weekly oversold, looking for a chopping, grinding, overlapping. Is struggling to go higher, but we're still going to get some sort of bounce. And we have our monthly that's still pushing lower. Still pushing lower. So there you have it. So be careful. Short term, because of the weekly oversold, we're likely going to get a bounce. And the daily, just kind of chopping and grinding. All I can say is we get this rally up, and then we look for this new low, then we'd look to buy in late 2026 is the plan. And this will likely be pushing somewhere around that $1,000 target. If it hits 1,000 or lower, that's no brainer to buy and hold till 2029. So let's circle the wagons. Remember, be careful on the markets. I'm not convinced that this reversal today is the end where we go breaking out. Yes, I'm extremely confident we're going to make all-time highs again, but I'm not convinced that this bounce is the one off of the sell-off early into the bounce. We're probably still looking at some lower high, lower low. We probably still need to make a new low. So plan is look out. We could rally, make another lower high. You see this line? We could extend that out. And maybe we rally in here and keep pushing. But I want to see a new low into the Magic Fibo. Then I'll look to buy. NASDAQ, more than likely, not only need a new low, but this low at 23.9 area, probably more than likely, Harold, before this thing goes breaking out to all-time highs. We haven't done it since last October. It tried to break it, but it was still at a lower high. If that line is straight, at a lower high, this means we're likely need a lower low. Then we can salivate down here to buy, and we're looking at a blow off top. So just to give you targets, we're looking at 72 to 75 eventually to get up here. NASDAQ, that 27,000 at least, maybe up to 28-ish. IWM, looking for that 290 to 300 range. Dow, we're looking at that 52, 53-ish kind of range. Nikkei, looking at, let's do the Futures doesn't have that bad tick up here into the 63, 64,000 range. Amen. So be careful. All I can say is we get the dip, we're going to look to buy it and look for all-time highs across the board. And then that will affect our Magnificent Seven chart, like Meta, probably pull back a little bit more. Amazon probably pull back a little bit more. Tesla probably pull back a little bit more, because remember, about 90% of all stocks pull back when the markets pull back, meaning the indexes. So yes, some could buck the trend maybe for a day or two, but typically it's less than about probably 1% really buck the trend, where the markets are going down and 1% of the stocks will go higher. But typically these guys will follow suit. So would I be worried if Tesla pulls back more and TSLL pulls back lower? No. Just adding buying shares, the lower it goes, the more I buy. Lower it goes, the more I buy. Just like we talked about when it was $6 and we almost quadrupled on that. And back in October of 24, when we said consider it, it was below 10, went up to 41. And how do I know that? Well, Harold, you come down here, you go to October of 24, right there. Whoops, right there, my friend. Expect Tesla to run toward 500, consider TSLL trade. If you took it that day, you would have bought it below 10 and you could have sold it above 41. I like it. So that's why we're looking to do it again. So my last comment last week was market's likely to chop lower, take aggressive profits, and I don't think it's over yet, even though we got a decent bounce. That was a decent bounce off of that low this morning. But again, it's still at a lower high. Look at it. So till we break out, likely going down to Magic Fibo. So with that, I'll say good luck. God bless you. May the pips be with you. I'm humbled and honored to be your mentor and instructor. And join us again tomorrow. And before I go, it says, Eric says, I'm glad I could be here in class today. I do the archives regularly, but I like in person better. Thank you again for all the insight you have and share with us to help us navigate the markets. Your insights is like no other I've come across. For me, it provides clarity without the noise from all the talking heads. Well, amen, brother. We love and appreciate you. Take care. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.